So there is,
Oh,
we are human beings and we do judge an awful lot based on names, appearance, etc. And realistically, Abby, if you and I were sat here doing this podcast and we did our makeup a bit more, made ourselves look more glamorous and had our tits slightly out, I guarantee you that we would have more likes on Instagram at this very moment in time.
I'd have to get a whole new boob job if anyone wanted to be able to see my tits, because I can barely. They're in there somewhere. I promise. I have to convince myself.
Don't you dare talk. I've had 2 children. 2 children. Welcome back to another episode of Fineish Podcast. We are your hosts, Hayley and Abby.
Hello.
Abby, my friend, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. I think I'm still recovering from all of the food that I ate at Christmas.
Do you know what? Interesting fact about me. I have lost weight for the first December probably ever in my life.
Wow. Because that's quite hard to do in December, isn't it?
I know. Which is why I'm kind of proud, but I also don't want to talk about it too much because I know people get quite defensive about this kind of thing. But I have clearly been doing something different. And for the first time ever, I got on the scales and I was like, bloody hell, I've lost 2 kilograms.
Do you know what, though? It's quite nice because I think whenever December rolls around, I think people automatically will get it into their minds of, hey, do you know what? We need to put a pause on the diet, or we need to do this, we need to do that. And just assume that we will always put on a little bit of weight over Christmas. That becomes a little bit of a joke, doesn't it? You've got to get your winter warmers on your body because it's expected that you usually gain a little bit of weight. Statistically speaking, I think people do typically tend to gain more weight in the winter period than they do in the summer. So actually, to be able to lose weight in the winter is pretty good going. So well done, genuinely. If that's what you were wanting, then well done, because it's bloody hard, isn't it?
It is bloody hard. It is, isn't it? And I think that links really nicely with what we were going to discuss today anyway, which is all about how people feel about their bodies and self-esteem and body image difficulties and all of that.
Yes.
So I think, that links really nicely. So for me, this has been a real success, I guess. And I'm feeling really happy and proud of myself that this year has been different. And it's been the first year ever that I have felt differently about myself over the Christmas period. And then after Christmas, just before New Year, to actually weigh myself. Not that we should weigh ourselves that often, people. Just saying that. It's not something I do every day, but something I did this morning. And I was like, oh my goodness. And to feel the way that I felt was pretty incredible. But then I had all these guilty feelings of, well, why didn't I love myself before? Why did I feel the way I did? I had all of these feelings that I should have loved myself the way that I was regardless. So it has been interesting, but regardless, I'm happy.
Good. That's the main thing. That is the main thing. So I suppose in terms of wanting to lose weight, I imagine this is a goal for a lot of people. Men and women, young people, older people. I feel like it is a general goal. At the time of recording this, we are 1 day away from New Year's Eve. And so could you imagine how many New Year's resolutions there are that are currently, I'm going to lose weight next year. I'm going to start my diet. I'm going to give up sugar. I'm going to do this. I'm going to exercise more. So many goals like that are now coming up. And actually, wouldn't it be nice if people's goals were instead something like, I want to learn how to play piano. I want to go and climb a mountain for the first time.
Yeah.
I want to, give up smoking, or something that might be better for their health. So many people, and I imagine a lot of people probably who don't need to have that goal, will set something to do with their appearance as something that they feel that they need to change. Why do you think that is, Hayley? You're the psychologist. Why do you think so many people use the new year to set that as their goal?
Gosh, we could talk about this for ages, but I think New Year comes round and there is this societal expectation that we set New Year's resolutions. Now, statistically speaking, most people won't stick to them, right? I think there is this pressure. It is a thing that everybody does. People genuinely believe that they are going to set these goals and then actually stick to them. So that adds to the pressure, almost like, right, if I set this goal for the 1st of January, because it's a New Year's resolution, everybody does it, therefore I'm going to stick to it and I'm going to succeed. And what we tend to see is that most people don't succeed at all. They often give up, if not within a few days, within a few months. Yeah. And most people don't achieve the goals that they've set. And I know that I'm guilty of that as well. And sure you are. Yes. Yeah. So I think from a societal perspective, we all want to set goals. When we then think about the type of goals that people set, often it is related to our body, whether it's losing weight or changing the way we look or doing our hair better or making sure we've got our nails done or getting facial treatments done, whatever it might be. And I don't know the exact reasons why people are so obsessed with this, but I'm going to guess that social media has got a role to play in this.
100%.
Looking at the people that I know and also looking at the work that I do, most people that are saying things like that and setting those kind of goals are usually women, more so than men. I do hear more men saying that they want to learn a new instrument or they want to try a new extreme sport, for example. Whereas for women, it is usually, I want to look better or I want to feel better about myself. And I don't know whether things were always like this. I mean, we're from the 90s and we were introduced to social media, when we were, I'm trying to think, we must have been maybe at 15, maybe half of our life, roughly. We've had social media exposure, if not a little bit more. I mean, the earliest I remember was MySpace.
I was thinking MySpace and Bebo as well, sharing the love.
I didn't have that one. I lived in Spain at the time, and MySpace was the one that we used alongside MSN to chat with people, which is essentially just Teams, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah, but MSN arguably much better because you could nudge people and do that little thing that knocked on the window. And it's like, you've not replied to me for like 10 seconds. Whereas you do that now, people are going to like sue you for harassment.
I don't have forgotten about that. Good old days, eh? Good old days. But yeah, MySpace. And I remember being at high school in Spain, opening my MySpace account and immediately taking like what I thought were sexy photos of myself. I now look back and cringe at the photos I was taking. These poses and pouting and all of it was just to receive validation and to feel better than I did about myself. I don't know about you, but I always hated myself. I always hated the way that I looked. Ever since I was a little girl, I despised what I saw in the mirror.
Yeah, I think it was pretty normal for me as well. It's weird though, isn't it? Because not as a kid, realistically, it depends on what age people class as kids, but like, it was almost like you start going through the puberty train and it suddenly become very more self-aware. And I don't know, the way that you look suddenly becomes so prominent and you're just like, how the fuck did that happen? Like 1 minute I'm there eating mud from the garden, the next minute I'm worried about fucking pimples on my face. And it's like, how did that happen?
I think you're right. So for me, it was definitely from around the age of 10 when I started getting spots. That's when things got really bad from a spot and acne perspective. But even prior to that, I was a really chubby child. I've always struggled with my weight. I think actually I'm big boned. I don't know if people would agree with that. I think there's some research out there showing that big bones now actually make a difference and all that. But hey ho, I'm just going to say I'm a big boned person. I'm quite wide. People used to ask me if I was a swimmer or a rugby player because of my body. And this is where I really hope my brothers are not listening. Brothers, I love you dearly. However, when I was a little girl, before the age of 10, brothers, one in particular, I won't name him, but he used to call me fatty a lot of the time. And he used to call me spotty a lot of the time. And he used to say really horrible things to me. And we have a great relationship now. Love him dearly. But I did grow up surrounded by two men that did take the mick out of me. And I was the little sister and it was funny to say horrible things to me. So I definitely from a young age struggled with my belly and my kind of my physique. And then I think as I turned 10, that's when I started getting spots. And then that turned into acne. And that became a really big deal for me as well. So essentially I hated everything that I saw. So I turned into one of those teenagers, Abby, that just smothered themselves in makeup, because that makes everything better, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah, with the Dream Matte mousse on the lips as well, because you've got to make the lips look the same colour as your face, even though your face doesn't look the same colour as the rest of your body. Like, it's just, what were we doing, guys? Come on, sort it out. It just looks stupid. And with there being like, oh, do you know what? Now my face is orange, my body is white, you can't see my lips anymore. Much better. I feel so much better about myself now.
It's so true,
because we all did it.
Oh, yeah. I love seeing those videos on Instagram where they show the makeup from like the 90s and the 2000s compared to the makeup now.
Yes.
Now, I'm not even sure I still like the makeup. Like, I don't think I liked the makeup then, but I don't think I like the makeup now either. I think that we wear too much makeup, full stop. Says she who's wearing makeup today, and I don't rarely wear makeup.
No, yeah, we've kind of swapped around today. I've dialed it back a little bit and... You've increased, but to be fair, I'm always, as soon as we joined onto our call today, I was just like, oh, bloody hell. I said she looks like a bloody supermodel.
Because I'm going out for a date with my husband, and that doesn't happen very often. So I thought I should put in a little bit of effort.
It's nice though, isn't it? Because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. And this is, again, like the importance of it is our self-esteem is so shattered, has been, always probably will be. So actually go and dress yourself up a little bit and do what's going to make you feel nice, because you're doing that for you and for, for Manuel as well. And it's not like it's every single day where you constantly feel like it's need. It's just, hey, on this one occasion, I really want to feel good about myself. But then that in itself is a problem, isn't it? Because you should feel good about yourself every single day.
Yes.
So it shouldn't take a date night, it shouldn't take a birthday, it shouldn't take a trip to the hair salon or anything like that. You should always feel good about yourself. And yet we never do. So many women and men never do. What the fuck happened to humans? Why is it so important to us that we look good in the eyes of other people? It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I think we've always had social comparison, right? So as humans are going to compare themselves to others. And we know that beauty is favored. There's no doubt that if you are naturally more beautiful, and I know that beauty is subjective, but we know that symmetry is highly regarded. So if a person has a symmetric face, they are naturally perceived to be more beautiful than somebody that doesn't. And even kind of looking historically, beauty has been really important, even in terms of they used to wear makeup, back in the Egyptian days. There is evidence that they did things to enhance their beauty. Yep. So it's definitely not just a modern day society thing. I think we've just taken it to a further extreme now, where we can actually operate on our bodies and actually physically change the way that we look. And also, if you are more beautiful, you are more likely to get a job. You are more likely to be let into a club. You get lots of favors by looking good. And it's really shitty. I hate it. But realistically, if you look at some of the most famous people, I'd probably say most famous rather than most successful. I think success is, we can define that in different ways. But in terms of fame, it is usually people who are attractive. They're nice to look at. We don't see that many really famous people that you look at and go, at least I don't. I can't think of anybody.
There's a thing they call that, isn't it? I think it's pretty privilege.
Yes.
I don't know whether that just applies to females. I guess it's just to any human. But yeah, if you look good, chances are you are going to have more opportunities for things. Like even in, not in the celebrity world, but even just in like our world, just, your chances of you, getting a good deal or something for free or getting more dates with somebody or earning more money or getting the job or anything like that. Like obviously there are lots of situations where it probably wouldn't really help, but I think there is a lot of anecdotal evidence to say from people that is a thing that they've experienced. I mean, Absolutely. It could also have been completely made up by somebody who doesn't consider themselves pretty, and then they're just a bit peed off that somebody who had like a good set of boobies and a pretty face got a job over them, and they were just a bit disgruntled and was like, well, that's fucking pretty privilege, isn't it?
No, but there is definitely an evidence base behind that, around how beauty does bring certain privileges and benefits. Similarly to the name that you have, if you have a name that somebody has a prejudice against, then you're less likely to be offered the job, even if you're qualified for it. So there is, we are human beings and we do judge an awful lot based on names, appearance, etc. And realistically, Abby, if you and I were sat here in this podcast and we did our makeup a bit more, made ourselves look more glamorous and had our tits slightly out, I guarantee you that we would have more likes on Instagram at this very moment in time.
I'd have to get a whole new boob job if anyone wanted to be able to see my tits, because I can barely. They're in there somewhere. I promise. I have to convince myself.
Don't you dare talk. I've had 2 children. It's the only bit of actual operation that I would ever consider doing.
Oh, but then, here we go. This is a perfect example. Straight away, it's just a comment of, hey, if we actually put a little bit extra effort into how our appearance was, maybe we'd be a bit more successful. Straight away, I've gone straight on the talking bad about myself. Boobies? What boobies? I don't have any fucking boobies. They're mosquito bites. You'll straight away be like, well, I've had 2 kids, so And we're both basically just insulting ourselves for no apparent reason. There was no reason for us to insult ourselves, but straight away we've got to go on the defensive of just I'm ugly, I'm owning it, I'm ugly. No one can tell me otherwise. I am ugly. I'm saying it first, so you can't hurt me.
It's really sad, isn't it? It's really sad.
It is. And I just feel like it's been so much of my life, your life, most people's lives, that it's so ingrained in us now to speak negatively about ourselves. The idea of saying something nice about ourselves almost seems like we're up ourselves. And I don't know, it's just horrible. I don't know how you feel about getting compliments, Hayley, but this is a big problem for me. Someone will give me a compliment. I don't know what to do with it. It's like someone handing me like a child. And I'm like, what do I do with this? Can I give it back, please? It's a very nice thing for someone to do. And it could be a really small compliment as well of you smell really nice. And it's just a harmless thing. Straight away, all these spikes go up on my back. And it's just almost why would you say something like that? No, I don't. It's just soap. Maybe it's my BO. Maybe it just smells. I've just got to ruin the moment straight away. I feel so uncomfortable when someone compliments me.
That's where we
odd.
differ, though. So we know what you're like. You do push people away. You push emotions away. Sorry, I'm going a bit deep here, but we know that you're very
Gosh.
much push away. I don't want to accept praise. I don't want to know. Leave me alone. I don't believe you. I'm a horrible person and I'm ugly and everything. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's Abby. Whereas Hayley is very needy, and Hayley wants all the praise. Hayley wants you to tell me how beautiful I am all the time, each and every single day. Unless it's my own husband. If it's my own husband, I'm like, whatever, fuck off, don't believe you. And that's been an issue because for all these years that I've hated myself, Manuel would always, since day one, tell me that I was beautiful, right? And Abby, you didn't know me when I met Manuel, but I did not look the way that I look today. I don't think I'm particularly attractive today, but when I met Manuel, I was a size 18 to 20 and UK size. So I said to her I was obese. And that doesn't automatically mean that somebody is not attractive, but I felt really unattractive. I felt really overweight. I felt just unhealthy. I never got my hair cut. Abby never gets hers cut.
I do. I just do it myself.
She doesn't.
Because I'm poor.
Pretty much. But yeah, I never had my hair done. My skin was still quite bad. I hadn't been to the dentist for years because I couldn't afford it. And I had some dental issues that needed fixing. So overall, I felt really, really shitty. Manuel always told me that I was beautiful and I never believed him. And even now, and I have much better self-esteem today than I did kind of 13, 14 years ago. But even now when he tells me I'm beautiful, I kind of go like, oh, thank you. So I acknowledge it, whereas before I would have shut it down. But even internally now, I'll still be like, yeah, whatever. He's just saying that to make me feel better.
That's interesting though, isn't it? Like that's only Manuel that you feel like that with. So like,
yeah, because I care most about his opinion. I think that's probably why his opinion matters most to me. And I think that I don't know. It's interesting, actually. I've never really thought about it. But his opinion is the most important. Other people, I'm kind of like, I don't really care what you think. But although externally, I really love that praise. I'm like, yes, give me all the praise. When it comes to Manuel, I really fear that he's not telling the truth or that he's just saying it to make me feel better. Whereas I don't care if other people say it just to make me feel better because their opinion isn't really that important. Whereas if I found out that Manuel was just saying it to make me feel better, I think that would destroy me. So I just pretend that he never said it.
Yeah. It's easier, isn't it? It's easier just to not believe them and be like, well, you're lying. You're lying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten better with accepting compliments. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous that this even needed to be a thing for me, is that I had to try and get better with accepting compliments. And like, exactly like you said, I will shut things, or used to, I will shut things down. As soon as someone would say something, I would have to go on the defense straight away to completely counter what they've just said. So if they said, your hair looks nice, I'd be like, well, I haven't brushed it. I haven't even got it cut. I cut it myself because I'm lazy. Like, straight away, I have to just ruin the moment completely. Whereas I had to tell myself, just say thank you. You don't have to believe it, Abby. You don't have to do anything with it. It doesn't have to be that deep, but just say thank you. So if someone says to me, like my new partner, if my new partner goes, oh, you look beautiful, I would go, thank you. Not just say it through gritted teeth. And it's not that, I don't know, it's not that I believe that they believe it, I guess. But like, for me, I don't believe it. And that's really the biggest critic, isn't it? At the end of the day, like, you can't convince me that I'm beautiful. You can believe that I'm beautiful. That's lovely for you. Great. You cannot convince me that I'm beautiful. And I think that's why the defense comes up, because I'm just like, well, no, you're not pulling the wool over my eyes. I know that I'm not beautiful. But that has just come from long-term conditioning that I have done to myself for no apparent reason, just because I went through a puberty machine at some point when I was like 12, 13, and ultimately decided, no, I'm not good looking. I am ugly. I haven't got a nice body. I've decided that I'm going to have that with me for the rest of my life, and I'm never going to be able to undo that.
So do you think that's where it came from for you then? Because I've already shared that for me, from a young age, I had two big brothers that bullied me, and then I became a teenager and I experienced more bullying in Spain. And then I had relationships where my boyfriends said some really nasty things. So I know where my stuff comes from, or at least I think I do. Whereas you didn't have that same experience of when you were in primary school, or your parents or siblings saying anything in particular to you that was damaging?
So I think it was a combination of things. I think genuinely, just straight off the bat, going through puberty just really messes with you and just your confidence. I was the same, really bad skin. It's really like horror. I don't like talking about it, but actually it's probably resonates with a lot of people. When you go through puberty and your hormones are all over the place, I used to sweat a lot. And it used to be a little bit smelly because I'm a teenager and it happens. And that in itself, so I used to think that I was smelly and I was ugly with my pimples. I've always struggled with my iron and I've always been in and out of having anemia basically. So I was very, very pale, big, massive purple under my eyes, had invisible eyebrows. I had hair I didn't realize was curly or wavy. So I used to try to straighten it. It'd get puffy. And so suddenly I went through this machine of puberty, became very aware of all of these things that weren't very good about me and thought that must be what other people can see. I also, I have a certain grandparent who was quite mean, harsh, unfiltered with things that she would say to me and my sister when we were growing up. So the general consensus was my sister, like, this is not what I think. This is what we picked up from this grandparent. My sister was the fat one and I was the ugly one. And that's kind of was stuck with us even to this day, to the point where like I had a conversation with my dad at Christmas and this is all stuff that he can remember as well. And he used to butt heads with this grandparent. So there was that. I actually had external confirmation. Hey, I'm ugly. Skin is ugly. My hair is ugly. I'm just ugly. And then my first boyfriend that I had, he had a best friend who referred to me as fugly once. And for anybody who doesn't know that, for any maybe youngsters that aren't quite down with the millennial lingo, fugly means fucking ugly. And she basically, I think she was just like, I don't know whether she fancied him or not, whatnot, but I was such a really quiet, reserved teenager. Like I never would have said boo to a goose. I was harmless. I was innocent. I was not going to be like a fear for anybody. So to just refer to me as fucking ugly was kind of like the nail in the coffin. And within this like small period of time, I convinced myself and had confirmation, I am ugly. God damn it. Okay, I am ugly. And it's really hard to then undo that for the rest of like your life. And so it just then, turns into that. And then it gets worse and it spreads and you start other things happen. Like I used to be a really skinny child and a really skinny teenager because I just never wanted to eat because I was so fearful of putting on weight. And then there was one point, like just going on a tangent now, but like the sorts of things that you used to do as a teenager. So I was probably about 17 maybe, so a little bit older. Asked my mum, begged my mum for me to go on a diet that I'd heard of where you only ate tuna. You had a tin of tuna in the morning, a tin of tuna for your lunch, a tin of tuna in your evenings. And I basically said that was always going to do. I had my own money because I was working then anyway. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So my mum was like, fine, if I can do what you want, basically. She wasn't happy about it. And I did that for like 2 weeks and it was horrific. And I was like, like a 17-year-old who has nothing wrong with her, was already slightly on the thinner side anyway, having to try a ridiculous diet like 3 tins of tuna a day to try and lose weight. I don't even know who for. Because I don't think of it for me because perfectly, if I'm honest, eating tuna for like 2 weeks straight on its own was not fun. It's not fun. So yes, I think mine was just it was just a combination of feeling manky about yourself because of puberty, having external people kind of confirm that for you, and then it just manifesting.
I can't imagine just eating 3 tins tuna a day. That's really shitty.
It was absolutely horrific. I don't even know if I managed to go for 2 weeks, to be honest with you. I don't think it was that long because it was just awful. But I used to try all sorts. I used to try diets where you only could eat foods with a certain letter, only foods that were green. I've tried like the low GI diet where I just like tried to have as much, even ruled out loads of fruit items that I couldn't have. I had to live off sweet potatoes rather than white potatoes. I've tried getting rid of gluten. I tried completely getting rid of sugar. I've tried so many different ridiculous diets. And I don't even know why, because realistically, I've never gone to the doctor and they've ever classed me as being like overweight and needing to lose weight or anything like that. It's never been mentioned. My weight has never caused any problems. But for some reason, I convinced myself that I'm fat and I need to lose weight constantly. And it's just never stopped. Constantly just thinking to myself, I need to lose weight for decades. Weird.
I don't think it is weird. I think it's not very nice and horrible for you, but I actually think it's quite normal. Not normal as in like we want everyone to do this, but I think in terms of it's a shared experience that so many women can probably resonate with because you're right, actually. It doesn't matter how much you weigh or what your body looks like. It isn't just people that genuinely do have weight issues that struggle. You're clearly saying from your experience, I didn't necessarily have any weight issues. You were probably within a very healthy weight range and you were probably fairly fit and healthy, yet you still perceived yourself to need to lose weight. Whereas I was physically overweight and I actually did need to lose weight, I think, for my own health. But even then, do you remember like a few years back after my youngest was born, I kind of decided to stop running, and then I started going to the gym kind of 6 times a week, and I lost an awful lot of weight, about 20 kilograms.
Yes.
I'm so sorry for the people here that do stones and pounds. I don't do stones and pounds. 20 kilograms is probably around 3 stone, roughly. This is where people realize how shit I am at maths.
I'm nodding along and I'm like, I don't have a clue. I'm not even going to attempt to work it out.
Anyway, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I lost quite a considerable amount of weight, and I was the slimmest that I had ever been, right? I don't know if you remember that period, Abby, but I was extremely slim. I believe that we went on holiday, actually. I think that we went to Prague, or not Prague. We went to a different place.
It was Prague.
Was it Prague?
Yeah.
And I was in really great shape. I was looking amazing. I was feeling fairly confident in comparison to what I had. Yeah, I then developed this absolute obsession with my tummy. And when I looked in the mirror, I was so certain that my tummy was still huge, even though it wasn't. It was the smallest it had ever been. And it was so interesting because I did need to lose weight and I wasn't healthy and I wasn't looking after myself. I made the changes that needed to be made, but then I took that to one extreme from the other and became really obsessed with wanting to have my tummy even flatter than it already was.
Yeah.
And it became really challenging. And I think in a weird way, what saved me from that was COVID, because COVID hit not that long after or kind of during that period.
Yeah.
So I could no longer go to the gym 6 times a day, and I didn't have the resources to buy the equipment at home. So I wasn't doing the same exercises. My diet had to change because I was too terrified to go out to the supermarket. So I couldn't purchase the same foods. So I kind of had to adapt. And then I think because I wasn't seeing anybody, it released that pressure of me being so paranoid about the way that I looked. So I kind of just became a little bit more comfortable at home. And it was during the pandemic that I kind of came out the other side of that really bad obsession with how I looked and kind of looking in the mirror and hating what I was seeing, despite looking the best I'd ever looked. And that's when I realized that I was probably on the verge of an eating disorder or body dysmorphia. Something was happening. And I was also doing my doctorate at the time. So I was learning a lot, I guess, about psychology and young people. And I was recognizing a lot of the traits in myself. So I'm really grateful in a strange way to the pandemic and to my training that I think helped me realize I need to do something about this without accessing professional support. And I like to think that I'm in a much better place now. Although even since over the years, I've always kind of been a little bit up and down, haven't I? But I think the last year in particular has been the best for me in terms of knowing that my weight is okay. I'm probably within that roughly healthy range. Yes, I still want to look better, but that's more of a preference now than a need, and try not to get too obsessed about that.
Yeah. I guess now as well, because you're so much more in tune with things that are actually considered healthy for your body, like with the intermittent fasting, you've done your research on a lot of stuff, and actually you've now got a lifestyle where you can incorporate things like that. It feels good. It's working for you. And so rather than it being a case of, well, I want to lose weight, therefore I'm going to just try this intermittent fasting thing, which admittedly is probably something that I would do. You're going into it, same with Mama, you're going into it because actually you've seen what the positives can be on like the actual inside of your body and your, what is it, like the things that your body produces, your energy levels, your level of sharpness. And you're experiencing that from doing intermittent fasting. So you're doing it for those benefits. And by proxy, it, I don't know, stabilizes weight, I suppose, or just helps manage weight a little bit better. So it's rather than you going into it like, okay, my goal is to lose weight. It's my goal is to be healthy, the healthiest and best version of myself. And if that means then I lose a bit of weight and it becomes a bit more stable at a certain weight, then that's great. I think that's probably why it feels better for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Now.
I think for me, I've definitely learned that there's a strong correlation between, for example, overeating, which was my problem, or binge eating, and emotional regulation. So again, as a psychologist, I've learned an awful lot about emotional regulation over the years. And I guess what I've tried to do is really stabilize my ability to regulate my emotions. I think previously, if I experienced any sort of stress or any sort of sadness or any sort of emotion that I wanted to completely bury, my default would be to go and snack or eat more food than I needed to. And then I'd feel really guilty about it. And then I would starve myself for a day or two to kind of make up for that. And it was a really unhealthy relationship. What I now do is I recognize the feelings. I can regulate my emotions much better. And what intermittent fasting has done for me is helped stabilize my hunger hormones. So now when I do feel stressed or distressed or whatever, one, I recognize that the emotion has come up. And then I think, my hunger hormones don't automatically say, oh, I want food, you're hungry, because I've stabilized all of that. So that's what has worked really well for me this last year. Hence, I feel like I'm in the best place I've ever been with all of this. However, I still hate seeing myself on camera. Do you remember when I did my acting video? You came up to visit me, didn't you?
Yes.
That was horrible. I had my first, I've been acting for almost a year, just like going to adult lessons, lots of like theatre focus. And then for a few weeks, we had a focus on self-tapes and doing a recorded script. And I had this like big monologue to do on my own, whereas most people were in pairs. I think they were like, we'll challenge Hayley, we'll put her on her own, which was great, right? I loved learning the script. But when it actually came to recording, I completely freaked out in front of everybody. And I had to say to everybody, I am really stressed right now. I really hate seeing myself. Anyway, I went ahead, pushed through, and I did watch myself back, but I cringed so bad and I felt so uncomfortable watching it. And it was interesting because you had come up literally that day to visit for the weekend or something. And the minute that I came out to see you, that's the first thing I said. I was kind of a bit off, wasn't I? Because I hated seeing myself so much. That wasn't all that long ago, really. So
no. I think that was this year, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was this. It was
this year.
It must have been a few months ago. It's been since September that we've done that. So even though I say I'm much better, I still prefer to not see myself. Listen to myself all day, every day. Watch myself, never.
I get it. I guess it comes down to like social media as well. Like we prefer to put our best front forward, and when like we usually take photos of ourselves or things like that, we have control over our selfies. We can edit them if we want to. We can choose the lighting, the angles, and put what we want to out in the world that we want to see. When then you've got things like that, you have no control, and you have to see what like the raw version of you actually looks like. And we're not used to seeing that. Even like when you take selfies, it's all mirrored and there's some sort of effect on there. But this reminds me of a really tough time that I went. It was 2019. I know 2019 because it was a really horrible year for me, and the body dysmorphia was so through the roof with this. I even remember I went to like psychotherapy as well to try and undo my fucking body dysmorphia that I had going on. So 2019 was ridiculous.
I remember that year well. It was a really, really tough year. And as a friend as well, not really knowing how to help you, that was really, really tough.
Yeah, it's just it was just that broke me. I think I was already becoming broken by the end of like Christmas 2018, and then 2019 just that was a lot of that was horrible. So it wasn't just my body. My body was always like a big focus for me, but it was also my skin, my acne. So I've always been someone who struggles with acne, even as an adult. Even now I have acne. I live with it. It is what it is. But it used to stress me out so much. It was the cause of like my depression. It crippled me. I genuinely would not go outside. There was one time when it was my birthday and I told a fib, I think to you, to my parents, to my partner at the time, to say that I was seeing another person for my birthday. So everyone was like, okay, Abby's accounted for on her birthday because she's busy seeing someone else. And I wasn't. I was just in bed crying, hyperventilating with curtains closed because I couldn't face going out in the world because I was so upset about my skin and I felt ugly. I felt like a monster. It got so bad that I couldn't look at any reflection of myself. And so I had to cover up all my mirrors in my house, had mirrored handles on my kitchen cabinets in my house, and I had to wrap them with tissue and sellotape because even just going to grab something out of my cupboard, if I caught it at an angle where I could see my acne on my face, I would just hyperventilate. I'd have a panic attack and it was horrible. I had to close my eyes when I got in cars so I couldn't see my reflection in the car window. It was so bad. It was literally debilitating. All because I thought having some pimples on my face or a little bit of extra flesh around my stomach made me so hideous that like I didn't deserve to live. It was awful. And I think some people hear self-esteem issues and they think like, oh yeah, it's just everyone can't take a compliment, can they? Whereas actually some people, it's so debilitating that that's how they live their life and they cannot always come out of it. I was lucky that I was able to come out of it. I had a good network. I had you, I had my partner, I had my family. But it gets to a point where you just crash and you just crumble. But it is that idea again, you're seeing yourself without any control and you see the raw version of yourself and you go, I don't like that version. And that's actually who I am. I'm going to avoid that.
And I remember that year really well. We don't often talk about it because it is one of those years where I'm kind of like, oh gosh, it's quite triggering. But for a lot of people don't come out of the pit that you were in. Like, you were in such a dark place. We were genuinely concerned for your well-being throughout that year because we didn't know whether you would make it. And that, I'm sorry to say that, it's really uncomfortable, but it got really bad when we came round one day and realised that you had all of these tissues around your door handles and that you were not going out of the house. And when somebody's living like that, you start to wonder, what kind of life is this? Right? This is not, you're not living. You are just barely surviving at this point. What helped you get out of that? Because you're in such a better place now. And I remember
For you,
back in the day, but I remember back in the day, as we've already said in another episode, Abby doesn't take advice. Abby's the kind of person that just needs to figure things out for herself. She's a lone learner. I remember saying to you, would therapy help, this, that, and the other? And Abby was just like, no, no, no. And I think you're very good, like me, at pretending you are just fine. And we didn't know the severity of what you were going through until it would already, I think, been happening for several months, if not longer. What happened that made you realise that some help would be useful, or changing something? I mean, how did you get out of that?
A combination of things. So we've also got to add that on top of this, in 2019, I was working at the school from the previous episode where I really hated it. So I was really struggling to find any joy or purpose in my life at this point, and was made to feel shit even at work. So there was no escape from the basically feeling like shit. One, it was a combination of applying, just randomly just being like, do you know what, fuck it, I'm going to apply for my speech and language therapy degree because what have I got to lose? And getting offered it straight away after my interview.
I remembered that. You came round to my house and told us the great news, and it was really exciting. Yes.
I applied to it just before it closed in June, had the interview the week after, and got offered it in July and to start in September. So suddenly I had this new lease of life in me, because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go and have the career that I didn't think I was going to be able to do because I already had a degree, but now I can do it. So I'm doing it in September. And I was so happy that I was going to be able to hand my notice in at the school that I worked at, whilst also genuinely being able to say, hey, I'm going off to do speech language therapy. On top of that, I went back to the doctors again. I think I got put on antidepressants. It's always been temporary, and then they've always just helped take the edge off so you can feel more afloat to then make better decisions to then come off the antidepressants. So that, and so I think I also started a different acne treatment as well, which wasn't miracle worker, but it was enough between all of those things to lift me out of this pit enough to kind of basically life going, right, I've given you a helping hand, now you need to go and do better. And I think, and then I think starting the degree in, I think it would have been the end of September actually, there's just too much going on for me to think about hiding away at home. It never went away completely. I also got Newton as well. My cat,
your
my kitten. I
cat.
rescued him. Yeah, when I was deeply, cripplingly depressed in my room, one time in the dark, I remember seeing a post go up for cats protection with these little litter of kittens that had been found, and I just couldn't stop looking at it, and I was drawn to them. And I went and took myself over there to go and meet them, and there was one really skitty little kitty that wouldn't come out of the house, and I was like, "Oh, that one's a bit nervous." And that ended up being Newton, who I ended up giving a home to. And so I think lots of positive things happened quite quickly. And I had to kind of be like, right, you know what, Abby, sort your shit out.
It's really amazing to hear that, though, Amber, just to reflect on that, actually, because we've lived through it. And I don't think we've ever sat and broken it down like that. You're right. You had lots of purpose, I guess. It was making sense of what was happening to you, finding new purpose, and then keeping your brain too busy to, as you've said, hide away. And that's something I find really helpful. Distraction's really useful. In some cases, I don't think that we should completely avoid all of our feelings. We do need to confront them. And I do believe you did that. If I'm not mistaken, you did have some CBT or something amongst all of that. Whether you found it helpful at the time or not is debatable. You didn't. Yeah, she didn't. But she definitely took something from it. I was like, I've got to say this, haven't I? I've got to be an advocate of some sort.
Yes,
of therapy.
you have. Yes.
If you're not watching, you should see Abby's face right now.
I use my same voice that I do when I take compliments. Yes, Hayley, I love CBT.
Whatever.
It was the only thing the NHS would offer, so I was like, all right.
Yeah. No, I know. But there was a combination of things that happened. It's really great to see, you move out of that. And I feel like ever since, things have been much better. It's been a few years. Yeah. You've not gone back into that dark place, not the same level for the same reasons anyway.
No.
Congratulations on confronting your demons and progressing. And I tend to do this thing in everyone where I'm like, oh, what are the key messages to take away? I don't plan to do it. I think it's just the way I talk. But I guess one of the key messages that I'm taking away from listening to you and also reflecting myself is that to feel better, sometimes we do have to confront those demons and we have to want to change. Yes. A lot of the issues are caused by external factors. It's usually because of horrible experiences, having been bullied, or people saying horrible things, or commenting on your weight. Like, people stop fucking commenting on women's bodies and weight, for fuck's sake.
Amen.
Stop it.
Just absolutely stop.
Just don't. Whether they've gained weight, lost weight, none of your fucking business. Anyway, but regardless of what the cause is, ultimately you're the one that's suffering. And the only way that you can get better is by confronting those feelings, sitting with them, and then taking baby steps towards making your life better than it is at the moment. And that's really hard, especially for people that maybe don't realize that. They just want to, they want everything just to be fixed for them. They, you want a magic wand to, somebody to come along with their magic wand and make it all better for you. And I often say that in my line of work. Like, I wish I had the magic wand, but I don't. What I can do is give you the guidance and the tools, but you are the one that's going to have to put in the effort. I will walk alongside you the best that I can. And I think that's where friends and family come in when they've had the challenges that we've had. We've both had our own little support networks, and neither of them have been particularly huge, have they? It's not like we're surrounded by massive families and, massive friendship groups. For me, my support network has been Abby and my husband, whereas for you, it's been your friends and family. But we all just need to find the key people that are going to walk beside us whilst we recover. And it's possible. Look at us today. It's possible. We don't love ourselves. We don't love the way we look, but we also don't hate it. So I think that's progress.
I think that's the main thing, isn't it? But the only thing that terrifies me a little bit about like nowadays is that the rise of social media is making things worse. That you finally get a bunch of millennials who have just gone through their shit show of stuff from their, Bebo phases, coming back into it as adults. Suddenly now being met with the idea of plastic surgery and whatever that fucking weight loss drug thing is called that everyone seems to be on. And now it's really, once again, screaming from the rooftops, hey, your body, it needs to be thin. It's important that you look a certain way. Yeah. You need to look like these Instagram people. And I feel like you now got a fresh new generation of people, and you just kind of look at them from our experiences and go, God help them. They've got no hope.
Yeah, it's the lip fillers for me. So my husband's family are from South America, and whenever they come over, they are absolutely horrified by the lips that we have in this country. British women, British girls are known for having, I call them duck lips. I don't really know what else to describe them as, but they're like huge lips. And then we've got Botox as well, which is really popular. Now I've had lots of conversations, so I know a lot of women that do these things. I'm absolutely not against them. If women want to do these things to themselves, absolutely, you do you. What I hate is the reasons that they're doing them. That's what, if you love yourself and want to just enhance the way you look and you're comfortable with who you are naturally, I'm all for it. Whereas if you hate the way that you look and you're doing it to get validation from others and to feel like you're worthy of something, that's what I dislike. So it's not the actual procedure, it's the feelings that underpin them. And I know lots of women within my friendship group, actually, even within my family, that have started doing these things. And it's always a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation because I'm there saying, no, I'm never going to get anything done like that. Whereas there's one particular person who might even be listening to this. And she's like, oh, but wait until you have the money to do it, Hayley. Because at the moment, I can't afford Botox. Right. Or I probably could, but I choose to put my money elsewhere. And she's like, just wait, you'll get there where you will want to do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe if I'm like in my 40s or 50s, maybe I'll feel more comfortable about doing stuff like that. But I feel a real responsibility to not do stuff to myself because I work with young people that are experiencing social, emotional, and mental health needs. I don't want to be a woman that turns up looking, not perfect, there's no such thing, but looking really, really beautiful because of all the stuff that I've had done to myself. Because I don't want to put that into their head as normal and like something that they should aspire to. So I feel like I need to represent being normal, not normal, but just being natural. I don't know. Does that sound weird?
No, I think it makes perfect sense. And I think especially because we have, younger people in our families. Like, I got a niece who's 16 and she's at that age that I was at where I started to first believe how hideous I generally thought I was. And if I see her go for that same thing, like, she has seen me through like the acne. She sees me like this Christmas, I'm riddled with acne. I've got it still. She sees that all the time. And I need to show her, hey, do you know what? I don't give a poop. I don't cover it up with foundation. I'm not doing anything like that. It just is what it is. And she sees that normalized. And so if she then at some point experiences adult acne or anything like that, she'll go, hey, do you know what? This is fine. I've grown up with this. I see people with acne. This is normal. Or like, the only thing that I worry about is like, again, like social media. But then I've got like my particular grandparent who, didn't stop with just like my sister and me, she makes comments even like to my niece
Oh,
sometimes. And you kind of you just want to be like, oh my God, like for every 10 wonderful things that we might do to help young girls and boys feel good about themselves, you get one person that's from like decades ago who has no filter that thinks it's absolutely okay to be like, wow, you put on some pounds, haven't you? And it's lost. They won't ever remember even saying it. But boom,
yeah.
all of that work has just been completely undone. And all of a sudden, the seed has been sowed. My God, am I getting fat?
However, I have to say, I've seen on social media lately a lot of women that are trying to normalize natural beauty and normalizing our flaws, essentially. Even things like, removing their makeup to show what they look like without it, being more open and honest about any procedures that they may have had. Because I think it's important that if you had to have stuff done, maybe be honest about it. Women, things like body positivity, we've seen a lot, haven't we, over the years around celebrating different body types. A lot of people have hated that because they think that we are normalizing obesity and things like that. Whereas actually what we're trying to do is help people to love themselves the way they are. Because if you love yourself, you're then in a better place to make change. Whereas if you feel horrible, you're going to continue treating yourself not very nicely. So I do definitely see some change and some progress in terms of overall body positivity. I just don't think it's fast enough. And I do think that there's still a lot of women on Instagram that don't help us. Do you think it's men or women? That's a question I do want to ask you. Do you think men or women are worse for women's self-esteem?
Women.
Okay.
Men, that's giving way too much credit for men. Like, bless their hearts. We love you dearly, men-ish. But like, you know where you stand with men. Like, ultimately, they will have sex with you regardless because
Yep.
they like sex. They love it. They actually quite a lot of men have come forward to say, hey, do you know what? Women are beautiful regardless of your body. Like, they will have types, but they're always just been open about that. And they just really don't make such a big deal out of it. If you're not their type, you're not their type. Women, however, are bitchy and cunning. And if you look at people who get their looks, take for example Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, she is getting butchered for her appearance in the new season, and people are saying she's aging terribly, and like the lips and all the faces that she's pulling. If you look at the comments of this, the bullying and the harassment, it's women. It's all women. The journal articles that people are publishing, women. Like, men will make comments, but it is mostly women. And then I think women also, not by their own fault, but they do exactly like you said, well, they'll maybe have procedures done and they'll try and look a certain way, but then they don't do a good enough job at telling people, oh, hey, this isn't my natural look. Don't aspire to be like me because this is money that's gone into my face.
Yeah.
So I would say women. Men can be assholes, don't get me wrong. Like, you can be fucking assholes, dudes, just stop. But I don't think they are a bigger problem as women are, unfortunately.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I found most women to be, more challenging. And then it's the women that do procedures and then try to encourage other women to do it that I don't like either. Like, if you do stuff, that's fine. Try not to shove it down other women's faces, telling them that they should get that done, because that doesn't help with their self-esteem either. I've had a friend tell me that I need certain things done before, and I kind of sat there feeling really uncomfortable. Like, oh my God, are you suggesting that there's something wrong with me? Whereas thankfully I'm in a position now where I can almost try to ignore that happened. But if I was a bit younger and still really vulnerable, then that would have destroyed me. And I probably would have gone and spent the 300 quid on whatever it was to get done to my face.
Exactly. So I think like the general consensus is probably just, as long as you are healthy, then you do you. Like, if you want procedures done, if you don't want procedures done, if you want to start going for runs, if you don't want to start going for runs, if you want to have that pizza, if you want to have that salad, as long as your body is healthy and you're not doing something to it that's making it not healthy, do whatever you want. And then other women should just get the hell out of their lives and just leave them alone and just let them be. I think that's the main thing. But whether that'll happen, I don't know, because people are just too invested in other people's lives.
I say surround yourself with people who lift you up and don't drag you down. If you are surrounded by people that make you feel like shit and make you feel like you want or need to have certain procedures done, they're not the people you need in your life. That's bad energy. Get rid of that.
That's bad energy. Sage that shit. Sage it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Shall we get to the end of the episode where we ask our favorite person for their opinion?
That's my favorite part. Yes, Abby, let's do it.
So it is my Bob today that we are talking to. So like Hayley said in the last episode, we wonder whether or not our different Bobs will come out with different things based on who asks it, because obviously it's used to each of us and how we are. So I'm asking my Bob. I'm saying, hi, Bob. If confidence was as easy as Instagram makes it look, would we still be having conversations around self-esteem issues? So Bob says, great question. I love his positivity with every single question that I ever ask him. A short answer, probably not, because confidence isn't a switch and it isn't only an individual trait. So Instagram offers packages or expresses packages kind of confidence as a mindset, so just love yourself, a look which is posed, filtered and polished, or a performance, loud, fearless and always glowing. But real world self-esteem is shaped by far more than mindset. Even if confidence were as easy as Instagram makes it look, we'd still be talking about self-esteem. Because confidence is contextual, not constant. Our brains are wired for comparison, so we're always going to do it. Self-esteem isn't purely personal, so it could be upbringing, trauma, social pressures, body standards, yada yada. And a lot of what we call confidence is usually just a performance anyway. So many people look confident because they've learned how to present that way. Sometimes it's healthy coping, sometimes it's masking. Instagram rewards that more performance, so when we see more of it. But I think, yeah, so confidence, chat basically is saying that confidence is really kind of not really doubting yourself, whereas Instagram is a bit more of a performance. Yes, we would still be talking about it because I agree with chat. I think as humans, we will always compare. I think we do that in jobs. We do that with food. We get food envy. Like I order food and I see someone else's food and I go, well, I want that food now. I should have had that.
Yeah.
So we do it with everything. If it's not self-esteem that seems to be like the main issue amongst like youngsters nowadays or women, it would be something else. So yeah.
Essentially, as human beings, we are fucked.
We are so fucked.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, up queen, taking this energy into 2026. We are so fucked. So basically, you do you, boo. And just focus on living your life the best that you can. It doesn't matter how you look. If your legs are working and your arms are working and you've got your sight and you've got your hearing, you've got your taste, then I would say you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to say, isn't it, actually, that we often overlook the things that we do have, and life is very short and anything can happen at any point. We could die like Abby almost did, within from 1 minute to another, you can be gone. And actually the last thing that people really think about when you're dead and they come to your funeral to say goodbye is what you look like. Isn't there a saying that people remember how you make them feel?
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
we do terrible with our like quotes. I swear to God, the amount of times we get, I was like that old saying, isn't it? Like this thing. And then we're like, yes, I like that.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, people don't care about how you looked. People are going to remember the experiences they had with you, the way you made them feel. So anyway, that is my message. So that's my third message for this episode.
We should just make like a book, which is just like Hayley's mindfulness or something. And it's just quotes for yourself.
Yeah, they're all borrowed, by the way. And I'm not an original.
No, but they're good quotes though. It's definitely something to consider. But yeah, I think that was a very important episode though. I think a lot of people struggle with this stuff. Like we said, I know we focused a lot on women, men equally. I really struggle with this stuff.
We could talk about men. Well, I think we probably will in another episode because I'm also very passionate about talking about the struggles that men experience. So I don't ignore those. So maybe it's something we can come back to. But the focus for this one has definitely been women. But thank you, Abby, for opening up and talking about your experiences too, because I know that it wasn't easy. I appreciate you being open.
Yeah, you're welcome. I didn't realize I was probably going to go down that rabbit hole, but then I was like, actually, do you know what? That probably was a really crucial part of my self-esteem journey, to be fair. And I'm sure a lot of people can probably relate, unfortunately. Okay, well, thank you very much, Hayley. I look forward to chatting in the next one.
Yeah, thank you very much. I look forward to it too. Take care, everyone.
Bye.